Thank you for joining us on MNB World News Mongolia, where we bring you the latest stories and updates from across the nation and beyond. I'm Batsir Namshir. Our top stories for News Mongolia. Mongolia must consolidate transformation towards an independent justice system with human rights at its core. This week's regular cabinet meeting updates. Charles University's 47th year contribution to advancing Mongolian studies. For the news, stay tuned. A United Nations expert welcomed steps Mongolia has taken to improve the independence of its judiciary since its transition to democracy in 1992, in particular, the strides taken to implement human rights recommendations made by international bodies. Margaret Satterthwaite, the UN Special Rapporteur on the independence of judges and lawyers, introduced the findings of her report.
The second innovation could do much to minimize the risk of arbitrary detention as a result of arrests without a court warrant. I look forward to reading this draft. Efforts are also in progress to review the criminal codes. This proposed reform provides an opportunity to reiterate the importance of timely and unhindered access to counsel as a guarantee of fair trial, and to ensure that no detention is arbitrary. This includes allowing advocates to do their work by ensuring they have appropriate facilities and prompt access to clients and evidence as a matter of right. I look forward to hearing about the composition of this working group.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur Margaret Satterthwaite, who introduced her report on the independence of judges and lawyers, visited courts and prosecutors' offices in Ulaanbaatar Sileng Province, Mandalsong, and the city of Bagnur, where she met with committed professionals. She also witnessed the damaging impact of the lack of investment in the judiciary, including inadequate, inaccessible, and insecure facility for judges, staff, and court users. The United Nations urged Mongolia to provide robust funding to secure the future of the justice system, including by dedicating a guaranteed percentage of the national budget for the judiciary. The Special Rapporteur commended civil society for their efforts to assess and monitor the independence of judiciary. She was concerned that surveys highlighted the lack of trust in the judiciary and heard that social media is being used to disparage judges, including by holders of public office. The Special Rapporteur observed that the government is responsible for protecting the rights of all Mongolians and ensuring they have access to justice without discrimination and double standards. The expert will present a report containing her findings and recommendations on the visit to the Human Rights Council in June of 2024.
During its regular session on November 15, 2023, the Mongolian cabinet made substantial decisions, placing a strong emphasis on advancing digital transformation and ensuring food security for the nation. The outcomes of the cabinet meeting are in the following report. Prime Minister Oyun Erden convened with the e-Mongolia team on November 13, 2023, highlighting the government's unwavering commitment to digital transition. The cabinet unveiled a comprehensive digital strategy, tasking officials with developing a draft bill on promoting the information technology industry, exploring an integrated website for public organizations based on e-Mongolia, and fostering cross-sector collaboration for a seamless digital transition. In the agricultural sector, the Minister of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry, Baldur Cholong Hayinga, presented detailed preparations for the upcoming winter and spring seasons, coupled with the preliminary results of the 2023 harvest. Measures included support for livestock and meat product exports, initiatives to secure domestic meat reserves, and enhancement in health services. The preliminary harvest balance showcased a robust yield, meeting 100% of the domestic demand for wheat and potatoes, as well as 85% for vegetables. Minister Baldur Cholong credited this success to concrete decisions made by the government. Further highlights from the cabinet session encompassed the decision and subsequent submission of the Mongolian government's report on gender equality. Additionally, the establishment of a partnership project development fund and the approval of a regulation on purchasing valuable cultural artifacts for preservation in state and local museums were notable achievements. These collective decisions reflect Mongolia's dedicated strides in technological advancement and its commitment to achieving agricultural self-sufficiency. Mongolian studies scholars are playing a pivotal role in promoting the understanding of Mongolia's rich heritage and contemporary significance. Armed with a passion for the country's culture, history, and society, these scholars act as cultural ambassadors, transcending borders and fostering global appreciation for Mongolia.
Established way back in 1348, Charles University stands as one of the world's oldest universities, earning a distinction as the largest and most renowned academic institution in the Czech Republic. Its consistent high placement in international rankings underscores its commitment to academic excellence. The Department of Mongolian Studies, founded in 1976, is an integral part of Charles University's academic landscape. Over the years, this department has played a significant role in advancing the field of Mongolian studies. Through scholarly endeavors, research initiatives, and collaborations, it has contributed to the broader understanding of Mongolia's culture, history, and language. Historically, Mongol people interacted well with many neighboring nations. That's why we study the ancient relations and coexistence. We have researched the difference in understanding in terms of city residents and countryside nomads, and the result of these studies will be included in the new dictionary. Currently, we are working on it. The Charles University publishes Mongolic Apragensia Research and Studies Report every semester.
My bachelor degree studies theme includes Mongols in Afghanistan.
Through their multifaceted roles as researchers, educators, and cultural advocates, Mongolian studies scholars stand as key contributors to the promotion of Mongolia's diverse and vibrant identity on the world stage. Their work serves as a bridge connecting people from different backgrounds and fostering a global community that values and respects the unique contributions of Mongolia to the tapestry of human civilization.
Over 100 costumed cast and crew members from the epic new show, The Mongol Hung, staged a flash mob dance at Trafalgar Square, the central hub of London. The event was a resounding success, capturing the attention of the press, social media, and the public.
This year marks the 60th anniversary of diplomatic ties between Mongolia and the United Kingdom, and as part of the celebration, London is hosting the Mongol Hang, an epic theatrical play that merges Britain's world-famous legacy in theater with Mongolian literature. To announce their arrival in London, 100 performers dressed as the Mongol Han gathered at Trafalgar Square before the show's launch on November 17 at the London Coliseum.
It's a very exciting time for us, as we've never had something of this scale in London or at the London Coliseum before. The point of today's event in Trafalgar Square is to introduce the full company to the press in London and to TV photographers and some journalists, as well as our documentary makers, before the cast go to the theatre tomorrow to start the dress rehearsals, and then we have the gala on Monday. So it's a big welcome to the Mongolian team with the Mongol Khan opening in London on the 17th.
Yesterday, we arrived with a contingent of over 150 individuals. This marks a historic moment for Mongolia, as it's the first time a substantial production featuring a large cast is being showcased in a foreign country. Our endeavor goes beyond just presenting the spectacular new show, The Mongol Hung, as it serves as a platform to not only promote the production, but also showcase Mongolia to a global audience.
Additionally, in light of the recent ban on the Mongol Han in Inner Mongolia, China, they extended a warm invitation to all Inner Mongolian visitors attending the show at the London Coliseum, along with giving them a 20% discount.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. You're watching News Mongolia. Now let's take a look at international news from our partner agencies. Chinese President Xi Jinping on Wednesday said he and U.S. President Joe Biden agreed to expand cooperation on anti-narcotics, resume high-level military communications, and expand people-to-people exchange.
She said it's the relationship between two people that time and time again brought China-U.S. relationship from low ebb into the right track.
It is our peoples reaching out to each other that has time and time again brought the China-U.S. relationship from a low ebb onto the right track. I'm convinced that once the door of China-U.S. relationship opened, it will not shut again. Once started, the cause of the China-U.S. relationship will not be derailed halfway. President Biden and I agreed to promote dialogue and cooperation based on the principles of mutual respect in diplomacy, trade, people-to-people exchange, education, science and technology, agriculture, military, law enforcement, artificial intelligence, etc. We agreed to make the cooperation list longer and the pie of cooperation bigger.
He suggested that there will be more measures to facilitate travel. Both leaders said they have reached expected agreements to curb illicit fentanyl production. Many of the chemicals used to make synthetic fentanyl came from China to cartels that traffic the powerful narcotic into the U.S., which is facing an overdose crisis. Another positive sign, she signaled later Wednesday that China would send the U.S. new pandas just a week after 3 from the Smithsonian National Zoo were returned to China, much to the dismay of Americans. There are only 4 left in the United States at the Atlanta Zoo, and their loan agreement expires next year. The gesture came at the end of a day in which Xi and President Joe Biden held their first face-to-face meeting in a year and pledged to try to reduce tensions. Xi is in California to attend the Summit of Indo-Pacific Leaders and for his meeting with Biden.
Chinese President Xi Jinping addressed American business executives at a $2,000 per plate dinner late on Wednesday. It was a rare opportunity for U.S. business leaders to hear directly from the Chinese leader as they seek clarification on Beijing's expanding security rules that may choke foreign investment.
Earlier Wednesday, President Xi and U.S. President Joe Biden emerged from their first face-to-face meeting in a year, vowing to stabilize their fraught relationship and showcasing modest agreements to combat illegal fentanyl and re-establish military communications. But there were still deep differences in economic competition and global security threats. The most assuring takeaway from the meeting for Biden was that if either man had a concern, they should pick up the phone and call one another and take the call. That's important progress, he said in a news conference following the talks. The two leaders spent 4 hours together at the bucolic Northern California estate in meetings, a working lunch and garden stroll, intent on showing the world that while there are global economic competitors, they are not locked in a winner-take-all face-off. Biden and Xi are in San Francisco for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperative Conference.
United Kingdom Foreign Secretary David Cameron met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in his first overseas trip in his new job, pledging the UK would continue providing military support for Ukraine's war effort until it's victorious in its war with Russia.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Cameron, a former prime minister who returned to government in a surprise appointment Monday in a cabinet shuffle, said he wanted to make Kiev his first diplomatic destination. Cameron said the United Kingdom would continue to provide moral and diplomatic support.
Thank you. I wanted this to be my first meeting personally. I admire the strength and determination of the Ukrainian people. And what I want to say by being here is that we will continue to give you the moral support, the diplomatic support, the economic support, but above all, the military support that you need, not just this year and next year, but however long it takes. I had some disagreements with my friend Boris Johnson, but we've known each other for 40 years, and his support for you was the finest thing that he and his government did, and I back it 100%. And so it's really important to have this meeting, to hear what it is you most need, to work out how we can work together, how we can get the communications right with all our friends and allies, to make sure the attention is here in Ukraine. And I feel this very personally.
Thanks for this.
Zelensky, who said he wanted to keep the world's focus on Ukraine's fight as attention has turned to the Middle East and Israel's war against Hamas, thanked Cameron for the visit on Wednesday.
And I thank you for coming. It's very important. Now, the world is not focused on the situation on our battlefield and in Ukraine, and it's dividing for focus really doesn't help. And we are thankful that UK always supported Ukraine. You're very welcome, you and your team, Ambassador. We are thankful for this message.
Thank you.
Thanks for these words.
The UK has been one of the strongest supporters of Ukraine in defending itself from Russia. As of last month, the UK said it was second to the US in providing military funds to Ukraine, giving £4.6 billion or $5.7 billion worth of assistance and training 30,000 Ukrainian troops on British soil.
Not only in
German police raided 54 locations across the country in an investigation of a Hamburg-based center suspected of promoting Iranian ideology and supporting the activities of Hezbollah, the government said on Thursday.
The Interior Ministry said the Islamic Center Hamburg, or IZH, has long been under observation by Germany's domestic intelligence agency. It said the activities of the group are aimed at spreading the revolutionary concept of Iran's supreme leader. Our security authorities are investigating the Islamic Center Hamburg and several possible sub-organizations. We are investigating the suspicion that these organizations are directed against our constitutional order. We are also investigating whether the Lebanese terrorist organization Hezbollah is being supported from here. Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah group has repeatedly traded fire with Israel across the Israel-Lebanon border since Hamas attacked Israel from Gaza last month. The IZH runs a mosque in Hamburg. Since early this morning, a total of 54 properties in 7 federal states have been searched by 800 officers. I'm very grateful to the 7 federal states involved for supporting us with the large police forces. They confiscated possible evidence, in particular cell phones, computers, and documents. The Interior Ministry said German intelligence believes it exerts significant influence or full control over some other mosques and groups, and that they often promote a clearly anti-Semitic and anti-Israel attitude. Our measures show we have the Islamist scene in our sights. I want to make it very clear. We are acting against Islamist extremism. We are not acting against any religion or any other state. But it is just as clear that we generally do not tolerate any Islamist propaganda and anti-Semitic and anti-Israel incitement in our country. Wednesday's raids were carried out in Hamburg and 6 other German states, Baden-Württemberg and Bavaria in the south, Berlin and Hesse, North Rhine-Westphalia and Lower Saxony in the west and northwest. In addition to IZH, the investigation is also targeting 5 other groups suspected of being sub-organizations of it. On November 2nd, Pfizer implemented a formal ban on activity by or in support of Hamas and dissolved Samidun, a group that was behind the celebration of Hamas' attack on Israel, following up on a pledge made by Chancellor Olaf Scholz shortly after the attack.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.